I am your host, Brittany. Jamie is my co-host. And we've got a little bit of an intro, so we'll get our kind of stragglers as time goes along. Hello, I am Brittany Gorlick. I am the membership chair for MAPC, and I'm so excited to introduce you to Jamie, my co-host. Jamie, do you want to chime in?
Hello. Jamie Capps. I'm the social media chair for the MAPC.
Excellent. And I'm going to kind of really quickly go over the format and then I'm going to introduce our amazing presenters who have so graciously decided to join us here on a Sunday evening. So we will go through our different presenters, and if you have any questions while they're presenting, please feel free to put those questions in the chat. Those I will moderate at the end of everyone's presentations and we'll go over them. So if you think of it while they're presenting, please feel free to just chime in at any time so that you don't feel like you need to forget. Not only that, but please keep yourself muted until the Q&A. If you would rather ask a question instead verbally, that is also completely understandable. I'm sure most of you at some point have a little bit of interaction with this. The big printmaking grad school spreadsheet was created by Steve Garst and Katie Garth and Brett Taylor, who was the previous membership chair. And they compiled a list of a decent amount of the printmaking and papermaking and bookmaking graduate programs across the United States. We are lucky enough. Oh, and Lois Harada as well. Cannot forget Lois. So this is not all of the universities in the United States, but it is quite an expansive list. Everyone who is here presenting is on here or has submitted to be put on here. Steve Garst is actively updating this as people are submitting to it. So if you are a professor and want your institution on here, please feel free. Right on the MAPC website, we have all of the information about actually viewing the spreadsheet and then submitting to it as well. So I do just want to plug that because there's a lot of information about a lot of different grad schools, and this is a big decision, which one is right for me. So this is an ongoing project. We really want to continue highlighting the different institutions across the United States, what they have to offer. And yeah, and then on that note, we are so excited. We have Sarah Langworthy of the University of the Iowa Center of the Book, and Tiana Bowie of the Rhode Island School of Design, and Ryan O'Malley with Texas A&M Corpus Christi. So Sarah, do you want to get yours all queued up?
Sure. Sarah Langworthy lives and works in Iowa City, Iowa, where she maintains a letterpress studio and is an associate professor of book art and director of the University of Iowa Center for the Book, the UICB. She has taught at the UICB since 2006, where she is area head for letterpress printing. Her artist books are held in over 60 public and numerous private collections, including the permanent collections of the Library of Congress, the Walker Art Center, and the Bainbridge Island Museum of Art. Her artist books have been recognized by the Carl Herzog Award for Excellence in Book Design and the MCBA Prize. She was awarded the Emerging Educator Award from the College Book Arts Association in 2011. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thanks, everyone. It's really great to be here. I'm Sarah Langworthy. I'm the director of the University Iowa Center for the Book, which we call UICB. I'm also an associate professor, and I oversee the letterpress printing area and currently the papermaking area. So I'm going to share my screen. So this will be it's a video of our studios, and it takes about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to talk while the video is playing. I'm so happy to be here to get a chance to share a bit about the UI Center for the Book programs and studios. At the Center for the Book, you'll encounter a range of media and approaches to art making with a focus on book arts media. Um, and our book arts curriculum is notable for its breadth and its depth. We offer full curricula and sequential coursework at the graduate level in artist books, bookbinding, letterpress printing, papermaking, and lettering arts. Most of our studios are on the ground floor of this lovely old building, and it used to be a teacher training school. So the room we just left was called the Type Kitchen because it was in the kitchen of the old school. Students have 24-hour access to the UICB studios in our building, which is North Hall. In our letterpress curriculum, we offer a cycle of 5 courses, which cover just about every technique imaginable for letterpress printing. In terms of equipment, we have over 600 cases of metal and wood type, 7 Vandercook presses, 2 platen presses, a CNP and a Pearl, a photopolymer exposure unit, things for photopolymer, and blocks to use for mono printing. Now we're walking down the hallway of our hallway gallery. And the UICB is unique in that it supports 2 papermaking studios in North Hall, our primary classroom space, and then a paper research facility at a satellite campus about 10 minutes away. And that satellite campus includes a fiber garden for growing papermaking fibers and equipment for professional production runs of large-scale work. And both spaces offer a wet room and a dry room for papermaking in the dry work area. And we have 2 Hollander style beaters, a wide range of papermaking molds, including decals up to 4 by 7 feet, a hydraulic press, and vats and a vacuum table. And for the papermaking courses, there are many entry points, including European style, Central Asian, or East Asian papermaking techniques. And classes include a study of both contemporary and historic practices. And the focus is on both papermaking as a substrate and paper as an art in itself. And so that could include casting or pulp painting or stenciling, as well as traditional sheet forming for paper to be used as a substrate for books and prints. And here's some people making paper. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the program in general now and the students. And so a question a lot of people have is like, what sort of studio space? And we have a lot of square footage of specialized equipment-based studios and not as much space for personal studios, but that is an ongoing priority. And we balance existing space for student studios against the number of current MFA students. So the goal is that each student is provided a personal work table in a shared room. And this is one of the 2 rooms where those work tables are. So each 3rd-year student gets 2 large tables and some shelves, and some of the 2nd-year students have a single table. And we have been promised additional space in this building. So hopefully in the next 2 to 5 years, we'll have more space available for graduate student workspace. In our program, incoming there you go. In our program, incoming MFA students initially focus on gaining expertise in book arts techniques. And I'll generally, if you're applying to a MFA program in printmaking or painting, you've done those things before. And a lot of times applicants to our program have little to no experience in book arts. So we try to provide that foundational level of key skills in that first semester that you're in the program. And then you can utilize those practices in your artwork in the next 5 semesters. And MFA cohort ranges from 15 to 20 students in the 3-year program. And they work together and build connections that last well beyond their time in Iowa. So the program itself is a 3-year, 60-credit MFA program. And upon acceptance to the program, students are assigned a pre-enrollment advisor. And that person helps you decide what classes to take and answers your questions about what it's like to live in Iowa City, or what classes you might take later on in your time here. And that person becomes your advisor for the first semester you're here. And after that, you can select an advisor from one of 4 faculty. And we make a distinction between mentoring and advising, where you'll have one advisor, but you might have multiple mentors. And the advisor is the person who's making sure that you're remembering to take the classes you need to graduate. And the mentor can be your advisor, but it could also be someone else in a studio area that's your area of focus. And let's see, the MFA degree culminates in the 3rd year of the thesis year. And the book arts MFA thesis is made up of a creative project, which consists of studio-based work, and that's exhibited during the last semester of your time in the program, and also a written thesis, which accompanies or augments that creative work. We fund all of our MFA students over the 3 years in the program, and there are 2 general types of awards. One is a fellowship, and those might be a tuition scholarship, or a tuition scholarship plus a stipend. And then there are also graduate assistant or teaching assistant positions, which offer both a tuition scholarship and a stipend. And there's a work expectation with those. And many of our students also take on hourly work in places such as the University of Iowa Libraries, specifically in the book conservation lab, or in the Stanley Museum. And these are places they can get extra money, but also get professional experience. In their third year, MFA students are awarded a stipend from the program to spend on materials for their thesis projects. Our college also offers a competitive small grant for the arts, and that's for up to $1,000 of materials towards your thesis projects. And the Graduate College also offers an MFA summer fellowship, and these are competitive, but our students have received them pretty regularly. And these are to pursue independent work in the summer session, and that's typically a $5,000 stipend. So we're now in the bookbinding studio, and we offer courses in traditional bookbinding. It's a 3-semester sequence from beginning bookbinding structures to advanced techniques. And other bookbinding courses explore artist book works with topics focusing on conceptual thinking or writing for artist books, and other approaches to working creatively in book form. We also offer courses in box making, book conservation, and historical binding. The conservation class happens in the conservation lab taught by our head conservator. And the bindery, though it's empty now, is a busy place that's full of all kinds of work happening all of the time. We also keep tools and supplies here for doing different kinds of surface decorations, from Japanese paper marbling, paste papers, and gelatin printing. Let's see, we're about to head into the digital lab, so I'll just start talking about that now. In the, sorry, maybe I'll pause as we look at the rolls of muslin. Our hallway gallery here that we spent a little time in, this is right now is a show of alumni work over the past 30 years. That was really fun to put up. Our digital lab is also open to all students, and our very exciting thing is we have a relatively new Riso printer here in the corner and a new plotter cutter. And the digital lab has 8 Mac computers that are kept up to date, the plotter cutter, and a vinyl cutter. We also have in storage equipment for documentation, including a camera, a tripod, a copy stand, a light box, and there's a full photo shooting setup. And we don't have a lot of wall space in our studios because of our nice big windows, so this room does have a wall for pinning up work for critique. Moving on to just talking a little bit about our alumni. Our alumni have gone on to accept academic positions, to found art centers, to win residencies at places like Judenet in New York or the Women's Studio Workshop. And our students and alumni win, I'm going to say, all of the awards in book arts. Including the Holly Award for Excellence in Book Arts offered by the University of Alabama, and also the MCBA Prize. In addition to that, the University of Iowa is a top Fulbright producer, and the university is very aggressive in supporting students applying for Fulbrights. And our small department has contributed 5 MFA Book Arts students to winning Fulbright Awards. So just kind of in conclusion, the interdisciplinary nature of the UICB is really distinctive, both on campus and I think nationally, and it makes for a really rich environment in which to come and study and train and grow as an artist. And that is my video. Thank you.
I am a proud alum of the UICB, so just had to throw that out there. Okay, and next up we have Tiana Bui, who is a Chicago and Milwaukee artist and educator. She holds a BA from Western Illinois University and an MFA from UW-Madison. Yeah. Bui is a recipient of numerous honors, including the 2016 Joan Mitchell Foundation grant, the 2019 Craig, I don't know how to say that. I apologize.
Cressy.
Yeah, Cressy. Okay, thank you.
Cressy.
Artist Fellowship. I wanted to pronounce that correctly. The 2019 Grant Wood Fellowship, the 2020 Generator Art Fellowship Art Award, and the 2023 Ruth Arts Mary L. Knorr Alumni Fellowship. She has held residencies nationwide and exhibited at institutions like the Detroit Institute of Arts, the Turner Museum, the Print Center of New York. Oh, and the Print Center of New York. Her work is in major collections and publications. Bui is Associate Professor and Graduate Director of Printmaking at the Rhode Island School of Design in Providence, Rhode Island. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me, and thank you everyone for spending your night with us. I'm gonna put some stuff in the chat just because there's not gonna go through everything in the presentation just to save time. But I do want to put in all of the tools and resources that we have in our print department first, just so you see that, just in case I don't go over all of it. So this is the Benson Hall that we exist in. Been in this building for about 30 plus years, actually. And now this is just another view because I was saying it's so pretty in Providence. This is how it looks all the time. And just a little overview of our curriculum. Grads come in their first year. It's a 2-year program. And in the first year, we're probably I want to say the most generous departments where we push our grads outside of our department. We also have Brown University that students can take courses from Brown and vice versa. So that's what's also pretty cool and attractive for the program at RISD. And so there's one course that is throughout the entire 4 years. I'm sorry, 2 years. So it's every semester. So it's, 4 times you take the course. So, and that course is a graduate print projects course, which also happens where your thesis work comes out of that course as well. And that's a nice capstone, beginning and capstone course. Also, the grads are considered taking seminar courses that they have to take about 9 credits, which is very important to take seminar courses outside of just studio courses, and also independent studies. And the other thing is also studio courses. So I feel like it's studio courses and you have your major course where you're working on your thesis or towards your thesis. There's also a thesis writing course, which is separate from the thesis making. And at the end of your time, you can consider making a book, which a lot of the grads actually opt to make a book and a paper, which is pretty cool, and their thesis show. Okay, so Intaglio, we have in the building, the Benson Hall, we have the Intaglio room, and I have just an image of students working literally just the other day on the presses. This is the acid bath room. We have litho and relief, and a lot of the relief is done actually on the litho presses or the Intaglio presses. So we have, of course, stone litho, plate litho, all of the processes, all the photochemical processes. Lots of stones galore. Screen printing is on the top floor, and also in that same floor is the digital area as well. And for photopolymer plating, for all those chemicals, also just further down the hall in the screen printing area. We also have a tech lab. So we have the Epson printer, we have a nice laser cutter, and we're talking about getting a Rizzo machine because that's becoming the other thing that printmakers are like, we need that as well, especially if they're making zines and little chapbooks. We, of course, have letterpress, and we have paper making, and that's all housed under the printmaking umbrella. The other cool thing, and actually, I think I probably did this backwards. I got to go back to there we go. The Fletcher Studios. So all of the grads at RISD are housed mostly in the Fletcher Studios, which is about a 10-minute walk from the Benson Hall, the main campus of RISD. The great thing about this is that it's just for grads. And also the graduates in printmaking have their own space, private space that they have 24 hours access to, because Benson Hall sometimes get a little too intense with a lot of traffic. It's exciting, but the grads sometimes just need their own specific space to just be, and they have the access to that. And if we're doing a turnover in the building or anything, they always can go back to their space. They share it with the textile grads, and then also have access to the wood shop, which is right out the same space of where the CIT print shop is in this building. Also, every grad that we admit, which we admit about, I think our max is 7 per class. So about 14. Right now we're at the full capacity of 14. Each grad get their own studio space in the Fletcher building. That is something that we do not negotiate upon. Like you get your own space. I don't even have my own space here. I say that like I don't even have a studio space. That's great. And also we have crit spaces in the same building. So a lot of the graduates, we bring visiting artists into that space as well. Thesis exhibitions, just want to go through a bunch of images. Now, I would say our program is pretty much interdisciplinary in the grad level. We're bringing in graduates who are not necessarily like studied printmaking very heavily in undergrad, but they may have studied graphic design, maybe illustration, and maybe they did something completely different, but the way that their work, when they bring their portfolio, it speaks to the history and the language of printmaking. And so we want to have the bigger dialogue with our grads, other than just the traditional printmaking ways of making. And that's pretty exciting, especially for the undergrads to see how the grads can push their practice beyond the traditional. And even if it is traditional, how are they really thinking about what print does for what they, what they want? I would also say the program is pretty autonomous, where we are like, you're the driver and we're here to help. And we're here to help guide you, but we are not the ones making major decisions on what you want. But there's so many resources in Providence, and we are close to New York, only 3.5 hours. We're close to Philly, we're close to Massachusetts. So you have all this nice East Coast energy, and we really help when people come here. They come specifically to connect with all of those spaces and places. Just showing some grad work. And also think like we really push grads to think conceptually, but whether they want to or not, it's like a part of the conversation and the dialogue. The exhibition happens in this huge space that kind of looks like a really cool like expo. And so there's a very professional way that the grads, and it's just for the grads to have this show at the end of the year. And the entire city and close, everybody like nearby comes to this show. It's a really big, oh yeah, this is probably, oh yeah, so for screen printing. Yeah, yeah, grad work, yeah. And people come far and wide to see the work, and just showing some experimental processes or experimental mediums with the printmaking. And also because, RISD has, we have glass, we have ceramics, we have all these other departments. So a lot of grads will come in wanting to connect with these other departments. And we really work hard to make sure they're able to get exactly what experience they want when they get here. So we do have grads that take all kind of classes and they come back to the printmaking area and with some more insight. RISD Editions is something we're actually going to have to bring back up. I think it halted at COVID, but we would bring visiting artists to come do us limited editions, and we would keep half, they would keep half, and then we'd go donate them to the RISD Museum. So we have a lot of prints in our archive, which is pretty awesome. So something we have to bring back. And then just showing, also, yes, this is also just images from the thesis show. This was from this year, so spring of 25. Just to give you an idea of some traditional with the ways that the grads are thinking about installation and okay, just a little bit more video. This piece right here was very interesting. I remember what she basically had a piece that would disseminate once, and then an image was shown, and then it was so there's hot plates behind all of the prints, and just really thinking, and then they would disappear, so you have to come back and watch and wait. And then we do bring a lot of visiting artists. There's just some of them to name: Nicola Lopez. And then we have that going out, that list ongoing throughout the entire year. And one thing we do is we actually have our grads suggest who they would like to bring. So half the people that we bring is based on them, and the other half is based on the faculty. But we really want to give this, again, grads come with so many connections that they don't know they have, and then they go, actually, I would like to bring, okay, let's bring them. And so just to give you a nice gist of some artists that have come. This is our grad, Elisa. She really wanted to meet Latoya Hobbs, so I was like, invite her. And Latoya Hobbs came. So that's and it was amazing. So and this is Lakila. And sometimes we'll share visiting artists with other departments, like, hey, if they are painting and a printmaker, let's figure out a way to connect and buddy up. and this is just a group of some of our grads who are in New York. We take them, we kind of force them to go to New York like pretty much, if not every semester, at least every spring. I'm like, I know it's right there, but it's not right there. So we're going to go and look at all of the print shops and the museums and galleries because you're right there. And so, um, and then what a lot of our grads do, a lot of them go into teaching or they'll stay in the East Coast area. Some of them recently have mentioned doing stuff in the Midwest, which is, that's my hometown. So that's good. So we're connecting some of our East Coast grads to the Midwest and also residencies and running print shops. And so we have a beautiful RISD alum network. And once the grads graduate, they're part of that network and we figure out a way to connect everyone together to that network, depending on what they want to do or where they want to go. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Tiana.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see. Up next is Ryan O'Malley. Ryan O'Malley is a professor of art and area head of printmaking at Texas A&M University-Corpus Christi, where he also serves as graduate coordinator. He received his BFA from the University of South Dakota in 2002 and his MFA from Louisiana State University in 2005, LSU. With nearly 30 years of experience as a printmaker and 20 as an educator, Professor O'Malley's work has been included in numerous exhibitions, publications, portfolios, and collections. He has shown internationally, including Canada, Estonia, Russia, Japan, France, China, Mexico, Italy, Latvia, and Iran. He is frequently a visiting artist at national and international institutions, and his expertise is included in Printmaking, A Complete Guide to Materials and Processes, second edition by Fick and Grabowski. Take it away, Ryan.
Thank you. Really happy to be here with all y'all. It's great to see what other schools are doing. And I mean, one thing I can definitely say is as an institution in South Texas where, majority of our students are first generation. And so our graduate students are kind of a window to the outside world for them. And so, being able to have this sort of opportunity to talk and to see what other programs are offering is a good way to get our South Texas students into places throughout the United States to broaden their own perspectives. So I'm going to share my screen. I've got a very short PowerPoint. Texas A&M University-Corpus Christi, as far as graduate schools are concerned, I think we're a really unique program. First of which being the only university in the world on its own island. So we are between Oso Bay on the left and Corpus Christi Bay. They're on the right. Corpus Christi is a city of about 360,000 people. We're about 2 hours south of San Antonio, 2 hours north of Mexico, 3 hours south of Houston, 3 hours south of Austin. So we're in a really unique position where there's a lot of arts and cultural sort of opportunities for our students. I'm going to put this up really quick if people want to screenshot that. I am the graduate coordinator here at A&M Corpus Christi, so if people have inquiries, they can email me directly. I also put up my Instagram where I'm also promoting students and alumni and process shots from works that I'm doing. And then Full Court Press _CCTX is our student page where people can see what our students are doing at the moment. So, okay, so that's us right there. Little Center for the Arts. We're on the second floor. We're a 2,900 square foot facility. Like I said, we're on Corpus Christi Bay on one side, so it's quite possible you will see dolphins on your way to school, which is great. So our program is a 3-year, 60-semester-hour curriculum. Our application deadline is the 1st of February. And our degree plan is really interdisciplinary. It's kind of a sliding scale depending on how interdisciplinary you want to get. But all graduate students have to take 4 classes outside of their area of concentration, but they can take up to six. So they could basically split concentration. If you could get 18 hours in printmaking and you could get 18 hours in sculpture. We also We're 10 hours every semester. We don't offer summer classes. That's time for research and for travel and for independent work. Every fall, we have a professional practices seminar that I've been developing that is split. Each year is a different professional practice concentration. So one year it's specifically based on teaching and pedagogy. Another year it's on creative practices, and then on another one is professional opportunities. So, with the teaching one, you're writing teaching statements, you're learning about learning types, teaching types, writing syllabi, creating uh, an assignment with a complete PowerPoint and a rubric. All of those things are sort of supporting that sort of practice. And then the professional opportunities, they're applying to grants, they're applying to residencies, they're writing cover letters for jobs, and other things of that sort. And then this semester we're doing the creative practice, which they're writing artist statements, they're writing press releases, they're building websites, they're doing artist talks, and then we're doing studio visits with artists that are local within the community. And then in the spring, that graduate professional practices class is a critique seminar, and that is a rotating each Tuesday, 2 to 3 graduate students are critiqued by their full graduate cohort in all disciplines, plus rotating faculty. So it's a way that everybody sort of stays connected and involved. We are a very small printmaking program, MFA program in general. I say that, but my current MFA print cohort is 9 students, which is a little bit more than I normally have, but usually comfortable with like 4 to 5 graduate students spread out across the 3 years. And like I said, we are very interdisciplinary. So students come in and often go down and work in ceramics or over in painting and drawing or down in sculpture. We're a small building in the Center for Arts, so you really just got to walk downstairs to be in another area. So there is a lot of dialogue between students and faculty, which is something that's I think a strength of ours is there's a lot of there's a lot of direct sort of mentorship in that small cohort. So this is the entrance to the print shop. The shop has been a labor of love for the past 15 years, making sure that it's safe, ergonomic, organized, and with lots and lots of things to inspire. And so walking into the space, this is our sort of like general work area, crit room, and this is a look out the windows over at Corpus Christi Bay and palm trees. And we've got etching presses and plate shear and big work tables there. There's a little close-up of what you get to see outside. And that's where the sun comes up in the morning too. So if you've been putting in an all-nighter, you get to see the sunrise from the print shop, which is pretty nice. So there's another view of the shop. Here's a look down at our graining sink, and we've got a really large stone library. This is just sort of a small section of the stones that we do have. Paper tearing area. Here's a look at the litho area. That press, that black press on the left, is belovedly named Stella because it belonged to Frank Stella at one point. And then a friend in Canada shipped it down to me. So Stella now lives with us. And here's another look at litho. This is our etching area. It sort of splits sides with screen printing. So we've got the Aqua Boogie 2000, which is a Aquatint box that we built. I'm really thrifty. I do a lot of things on shoestring budget, and so I'm constantly sort of upcycling, recycling things. And it kind of speaks to the resiliency of being a printmaker, and that's something that our students sort of learn to do while they're here. Is like you can be successful in any shop. You just have to figure out how it works and how you can best work in it. So this is a shot of our screen print area. You'll see that most of the screens are named after golden era hip hop, which is obviously the best era. We do go over 93, 94 into the late 90s, but I don't think we go much beyond that. So this is the interior of our dark room. I built this fully rigged fan system that can dry a screen in about 10 minutes. We use this space for photolitho and screen printing, other photo-based processes. We do have a small digital lab here in the print shop where we have a large Epson printer and a smaller one for transparencies. We've got a couple large scanners. We got a Cricut, and we got Macs with Creative Cloud on all of them. We also do over in our communication design building, we've got a risograph, a two-color risograph printer that we procured a couple years ago. One other thing that we do have that is very unique is graduate studio space. So this studio is shared by two people currently, and that's the nice thing. It's in a building that's just two buildings over from us, but graduates get really spacious studios. There's generally no more than two people per studio. This is just a small selection of a couple of the spaces that grads occupy. So, there's a lot of space to work. And the print shop is constantly active. I feel like it's the heart and soul of the department. There's a lot of good energy in here. There's light. There's always music. This is working with graphic design to make some like gum transfer zines one year. Teach a Maymester class on occasion where we merge communication design, or not communication design, communications in screen printing. So we did it's film and screen. So one year we did 60s cinema and screen printing, and then we did 80s one year, and then another year was related to MTV that I teach with another colleague who's also a print grad, surprisingly, in the communications program, Dr. Thompson. And like I said, the one thing that I can offer is as much of my time and energy as you put in to yourself and to your own work. We're not a big program with a lot of resources. So our faculty really does do what they can to make sure that the student experience is special here. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why students apply down here is they want to work with our faculty in a really unique place. And so here's a couple of our current recent grads working in the shop. Ashley on the left, Kevin on the right. Ashley finished her degree last spring. Kevin's finishing up this year. Ashley's currently teaching adjunct with us. I'll get to that here in a minute. Professor Joe Skinner there on the left. I think he's on the chat. I think I saw him on the bar, and Professor Jackie White there on the right. Two of our former grads that are now teaching full time out in the world, Florida and North Texas, respectively. So another thing that we do have here that I think is a very special part of our graduate program is Full Court Press, which is our student printmaking organization. So it's kind of a twofold thing where we invite artists in, visiting artists, and we'll publish their works and split the editions, and then those editions that we have go into our collection, and then we will sell them at a fundraising exhibition that we have here, and that goes back into our account that continues to bring in visiting artists. So that's Tyler Kosowski that came in years ago, and Harmon Leemberg, who is a graphic designer and screen printer from Holland. The other thing that Full Court Press does is a lot of community-driven live printing and cultural events. This is the Dia de los Muertos Festival, which is coming up next Saturday, which boasts 30 to 50,000 people that come to our downtown. And there's food and music, and we live print T-shirts, and the proceeds help students with their material needs or going to conferences. Last year, we were able to take 20 students to MAPC because of our fundraising endeavors that we do. And I guess last but not least, Corpus Christi is really close to the Gulf of Mexico, Padre Island, which is the longest undeveloped barrier island in the world. So it's right out our back door to be able to go and be in a really unique environment and catch a lavender hour every now and then. So we do a lot of beach barbecues and trips where the grads and faculty will go out and we'll cook food and hang out and such. So I guess the nitty gritty about the program, I'm going to go all the way back up to the top real quick, just fly through there. Um, so, you know, our students get a chance to teach after 1 year of shadowing. So they come in their first year, and our every student that gets accepted full time into our program receives an assistantship and a stipend. We do offer a couple competitive fellowships. We have 5 that we can offer at any given time. So it depends on the who's in the Sage Fellowship at what time when they graduate. Then we have fellowships to continue to offer the next recruiting period. So students will shadow instructors that first year in a class that they're likely to teach. They also will do building monitor hours and small sort of lab technician positions. Again, our curriculum is built for interdisciplinary practice, and um, our graduate student success after graduation, I think between the teaching opportunities that they get, the sort of engagement with the community, in exhibiting and traveling to different cultural events and printmaking events, our graduation rate of students placing themselves in full-time teaching positions is pretty outstanding from our little program. And as a little program that I kind of modeled us after University of South Dakota, which when I was going to school there in the late 90s, had so many, and still does, has so many former graduate students that are out there teaching and in a little program that most people had never heard of. So we're small, but we're mighty. We offer a really unique experience, and we're looking for grads that are hardworking, eager, curious, and particularly kind. So.
Thank you, Ryan. Oh my gosh. I mean, I feel like I just got out of grad school 3 years ago, and I love learning about other people's programs too, because I think that there's so much collaboration in our print spaces and so much overlap of like our goals, and I just love it so much. That being said, this is a great time now. If you have thought of any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. We have some pre-prepared questions. What should a person consider before applying for your program?
I think something to consider is we are a small program in a large university, and because of that, I'm gonna say we get away with some things because we're under the radar, but we also have those connections to all the larger departments on campus. And then we also have a really strong adjunct pool. So there's 4 main faculty who teach in our program. But we have this like great selection of like adjunct faculty who bring their perspective as professionals in the field to our courses. So we have like a much larger faculty than our main core faculty.
Yeah, I would say I just think it would be important to do your research first on like RISD specifically, but also think about like once you do the research and you see all the opportunities, really consider why you would want to be there to do those opportunities. What specifically about the institution stands out to you and how you can add to the institution as well. I think sometimes we forget that it's not undergrad anymore. You get to grad school and I was like, we're like, where do you bring in us? And how can we also, now we can work together. So it's not just about, the institution just constantly, it's like it's an exchange and hopefully a mutual exchange. And so I just think about purpose and intent. And I think that's just helpful for any program, but especially I think RISD being on the East Coast, being a private institution, and also being connected with Brown University.
Why should a person consider before applying to my program? Do you like the heat? I think that's a big consideration. It's South Texas, so it stays pretty hot from June through about late October, and after that, it's beautiful. But there's a lot of things people should consider when they're applying to graduate programs. Funding is generally number one. Opportunities to teach, cohort size, studio space, are there interdisciplinary practices, location, and so I think for particular to our program is do you want a unique experience in a unique place? And are you, are you curious and self-motivated? And I think that should be the sort of attitude for applying to any graduate program. But I think we work a lot with the community. We work very closely with Art Center of Corpus Christi, K-Space Contemporary, the Art Museum of South Texas. So there's a lot of entities here that we work very close with, and we do drive a lot of the sort of cultural development and opportunities in the city of Corpus Christi. So it is a really special thing to be able to.
Thanks, Ryan. So we have a question from Lisa Drost at the University of Miami. They said, great presentations and thank you. Have you all experienced an increase or decrease in your graduate applicants over the last few years? And same thing, we'll start with Sarah and go on.
I'd say a decrease, and it's kind of hopefully on an upswing again. I think from COVID, about 4 years, we didn't have as many applicants as we had previously, but that seems to be on an upswing, we hope.
And for us, because RISD has so many different grad programs, it depends on the department. But for printmaking, it's been an increase. Knock on all the wood. So, but also we know we've been very steady over time and knowing how many we can actually take. And I think us being steady has actually benefited us.
Yeah, I agree. I think COVID was a big indicator of of that question. I think we are definitely our numbers are growing again post COVID, and printmaking has always had a robust pool of applicants. So I love that people are again, it speaks to the resiliency of our community of people. So
True.
Period. How does your graduate program support printmakers and artists from underrepresented communities?
So I think the way our program is structured, there are lots of places for both formal and informal mentoring throughout the 3 years. And so we have a review at the end of the first year and a third year review at the midpoint. And the students get lots of individual mentoring towards applying for grants and awards. We also have a really wonderful artist book collection in the library that is a whole span of work ranging from eras and times and locations. And then the curriculum is really broadening. So I think we're addressing like people individually, but also ways of approaching the study of artist books and books through history.
Yeah, I think it's also just as an institution, we really are very transparent about SEI, social equity and inclusion. We still have our office. I'm just like, listen, I know it's hard out there, but I'm like, we push for it. We make sure it's a huge priority. And also, and a lot of students who've been interested do want to know, how is your school as a whole dealing with issues with SEI? And so I think and then our grads actually have found ways to get involved if anything they feel like we're missing, but we hear the student individually, and then we cater to them individually on what is needed or what maybe we haven't done. But I think also like financially, just thinking about where they're coming from, understanding that you're coming to a private institution, making sure they can actually do it, be here, afford it throughout the time. And especially if money is a factor, it's not always a factor if you're underrepresented. But I do think about that aspect of it. I think about the psychological impact of PWIs. And these are things we're very transparent about. I'm running a workshop on it tomorrow, actually. And I have grads coming to that workshop to actually to have testimonials about their experience and what that looks like. So I think just talking about what issues come with being underrepresented, and then having a call to action. So that's something that my colleagues and I have been very vocal about.
I would say, so my university, part of its mission in itself is serving underrepresented communities. We're an officially recognized Hispanic and minority serving doctoral institution. And as I'd said before, about 50% of our our student population are first generation college students. So, and we are we're kind of overlooked as a Texas city. We're really far down in the South. We've got a lot of there is a lot of sort of disparity between wealth and a lack of wealth in this community. So it's something that is constantly sort of visible. And so, what we do, I think, really well is all of our faculty work very, very understanding that our students are oftentimes trying to figure out how they fit into a university system, is just making sure that we are like very closely mentoring them and guiding them to the best of our abilities and trying to find them as many opportunities as possible. We have to get crafty. We have to put in extra work. But it's something that we do really well. And, I'm really thankful to see so many of our undergraduate students out in the world right now in graduate programs, or, having gone through graduate programs and now are teaching. Our current, our former grads, so many of from 2018 until now, like most of the grads I've had in printmaking are out there teaching, almost, a lot of them in tenure track, visiting assistant professor positions. And so, it's just something that's sort of built into our character as an institution, is making sure that we are providing our students with as many opportunities for success as we can. So.
All right, and that puts us basically right at 7 p.m. I just want to thank everyone again so much.
Yes, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate your time, and everybody who joined us today. We hope that you got, some good information from these excellent schools.
I do want to once again thank Steve Garst, who is there in the chat, who is the one who puts all of the work into making sure that we have the updated information for the big grad school printmaking spreadsheet. So shout out to Steve, who does the most. Also keep your eyes peeled, because we will be having our membership drive soon. And I just want to thank you all so much for spending your Sunday with us. And if you are, taking all of this information in and want a good refresher, it will be up on the YouTube in the upcoming weeks. So thank you all so very much.
Thank you so much.
everyone.
Thank you.